Hey everyone, have you ever found yourself in one of those sticky family situations where you know you're about to stir up some drama, but you do it anyway? And then afterwards, you're left wondering, wait, am I the actual bad guy here? Well, if this sounds familiar, you're in the right place. Because I've got a few of those exact moments. We're going to dive into some pretty intense family dilemmas. Like when he told his wife she wasn't allowed to ground their son, or when he flat out refused to pay his own parents' rent. And then there's one where she decided to be brutally honest with her folks about being a sugar baby. So get ready to judge and let me know what you think. Let's dive in. Okay. Am I the hole because I told my wife she isn't allowed to ground my son? My son is 17. My wife and I also have 3 more boys. 2 are from before our marriage. But legally, I'm their father now. They are all much younger than my son. My son is starting his senior year of high school next year and hoping to get an athletic scholarship. My son plans to spend all summer practicing. Yesterday, my wife asked him to tidy up the living room, and he said he was already on the way to the gym. She told him that he could go after tidying. He said he would do it when he got back and left without giving her time to reply. She sent him a text saying he is grounded and then called me to let me know. I would do the same thing because that's disrespectful. The house honestly should have been tidy before he left anyway. I told her that I would talk to him, but he wasn't grounded. She said he disrespected her, and I said we could and would have a conversation about that, but there would be no grounding. This is my last summer with my oldest child and an important summer because he's trying to achieve something that can make or break his future. I'm not going to risk ruining either of those things unless it's something really serious. So what I'm hearing is you're going to let your son walk all over you because his scholarship is more important than him having manners and being respectful to, I understand it's his stepmother, but the woman that has been helping raise him with you for the past few years, it sounds. Before you guys get married, the kids that you brought into it, you adopted her kids. Why is she not considered a parent of yours? My own personal opinion. She was very upset. I texted my son that he wasn't grounded, but that we wanted to talk to him when he came home. He said okay and texted me when he was leaving the gym to let us know he was on the way. When he got back, we sat down and talked. He said he didn't mind helping out, but that he was a busy person with a busy schedule and wasn't at our beck and call. He said if he is asked in advance to do something, he will, but he isn't available to us at the drop of a hat. He lives in your house. He is still in high school. He hasn't graduated yet. I understand if he has a job. I understand that he's trying his best to train and practice to get this athletic scholarship. But that doesn't give him the right to walk all over you, in my opinion. He obviously needs to help out and needs some chores to take responsibility. And either he needs to do those at night before he goes to bed or do those first thing in the morning before he leaves. My wife didn't like that, but I said that was fine. I asked him if he would be willing to clean the living room, and he said he would after taking a shower. While he was in the shower, my wife and I got into a big fight. She said I undermined her and all the kids will respect her less. I said she isn't my oldest mother and final say goes to me with him. Any of our other kids and I wouldn't do what I did, but she's not his mom. She was very angry. I said that and said she needed space from me. Well, how long has she been acting as his mother? How long have y'all been married and that he has been and that she's been around to raise him? Is his birth mother in the picture? If she is, why aren't you guys all communicating together? Because obviously she's the woman of the house and she was asking him for help to tidy up, and he blew her off. He doesn't have respect for her, and you just included that foundation. Like, you agreed with him more or less that it's not his job to help keep up with the house when he is still a child in your home. We have only talked as much as necessary today, and I'm getting worried. We are supposed to be at a Memorial Day barbecue in an hour, and she just asked me if I could stay home while she took the boys without me. My oldest has plans with friends and already left. I am wondering if I'm the hole here. My son always said that he would respect my wife, but she's not his mother. He's never cussed her, shouted at her, or what have you. I think it's fair that we stay consistent with her not being his mom. Maybe I'm being a bad husband. She wasn't trying to be his mom. But the fact is you're obviously not being his dad. Update: my wife and the kids got home about an hour ago. After we put the kids to bed, we talked. I asked her, after 5 years of never even attempting to be any sort of mother to my oldest, why she all of a sudden wanted to step into that role. She said she wasn't trying to parent him, that she was just trying to manage the household and he wasn't cooperating. I said that wasn't a reason to react the way she did, and he was cooperating by offering to do it later. She said she was overwhelmed and needed it done then, so she didn't have to think about it. Which, if you are a mother taking care of the house, and it kind of sounds like she's a stay-at-home mom having to also raise your kids, and if she's not, then she's even more overwhelmed by going to work and taking care of the house as well. So you should have actually put your foot down and said that he needed to clean the house up before he left or something. He isn't helping. He is doing his part for the household. I told her it's very important to me that this last summer be a good one because I don't know when I'll see him again after this. I mentioned how I'm anxious that I won't be able to attend his big events because he might not want her there, and I can't abandon my wife to travel without her. As I was talking, really rambling more than anything, her eyes lit up. She smiled at me. I thought it was so weird because I hadn't said anything positive, and a moment ago she'd been upset. I asked what was going on. She said nothing. She then asked if I meant that. I was confused and asked which part. She asked if I'd choose her over my son. I said I'd never choose anything over my children. She said, but if he invited you to visit him and not me, you wouldn't go? I said I couldn't do that to her. It wouldn't be right. As a husband, I can't just abandon her unless it was an emergency or something. Obviously, I didn't want an emergency, so you can see why I'm stressed about this possible future where I go years without seeing my son. She said she understood and it wouldn't happen again, but the whole interaction was so strange. One moment she was upset and defensive, the next moment she was kissing me and telling me I was going to have a great summer and everything would be okay. The whole thing was so odd. I asked her how the barbecue was, and she said it was all right, but I would have been better if I was there, which I had no idea how to respond to. Anyway, I'm typing this in the bathroom. I don't know what to make of this situation. Half of me thinks this is a resolution and I can put it behind me. And maybe the other half is too paranoid from reading so many comments. But that half thinks that this is just a symptom of a bigger problem. Either way, my wife is happy, so I'm better off than I was before, I suppose. I still don't understand why you're letting your son walk all over her. I understand that he is not her mother, but she is your wife. And you're saying that you won't abandon her at home if he has, like, I don't know, what's like a sports game or something. But you're literally letting him disrespect her. I know that's not his mother. but he doesn't need disrespect for her. And now you've pretty much taken his side, and he's going to do it again, more than likely. And especially once he's out of the house, it's going to be more and more and more. Am I the jerk for refusing to pay my parents' rent? I'm a 22-year-old guy living in Mississauga with a full-time job. I live with my parents and both of them work full-time. My parents pay $2,500 in rent. They don't own the house. 9 months ago, my father asked me to pay him $2,000 rent for my room. There is no way I pay that much, so we settled for $1,000. But I felt bitter about it, so I decided to move out later. I have been paying $1,100 a month for my new room ever since I left. I have two sisters who my parents pay tuition for. They both get to live in my parents' house without paying rent. I didn't go to school, so my parents didn't have to pay any tuition or living on campus expenses for me. My father says that my sisters don't need to pay because they are still studying and aren't working. I completely disagree with that rhetoric. My father is upset at me for refusing to pay, and because I had told him that in this case I would rather pay a stranger rent than paying him, which is what I have been doing for the past 6 months. Am I the jerk for thinking and doing what I did? Okay, so you have a job. Your parents' rent is very high. I agree, your sisters need to be paying if you're paying. But they also don't have a job and they are in school, while you immediately went to get a job instead of going to college. So maybe not even $1,000. I feel like $2,500 should be split evenly between you and your parents, like in thirds, because there's 3 of you with a job. But so it would be about $750 that you'd be paying every month. But the fact that you left to go pay $100 more somewhere else for the same amount of space that you had before, like, yeah, you're not having to share the kitchen or share a bathroom if you had to share a bathroom before, but you pretty much gave your dad the middle finger, in my opinion. Edit. I wrote a reply to someone that I want to put here because it seems like the majority of people need to read this, especially those who think that it's fair for my sisters to not pay rent if they are in school, but not for me because I'm working full time. I took out the harsh parts. You can still find them in my original reply. My sisters and I are all 22 years old. Yes, triplets. I have already saved and currently investing $100K after working roughly 2 years. I plan to retire before I hit 33 years old. My parents who say go to school or pay rent pressure their kids to pick whatever course or profession just to avoid paying rent. Those kids end up in courses or careers that they either don't like or don't pay well, or both. Honestly, most people do this without getting pressured by family. Imagine with the pressure. I understand that, but you're still living under their roof and they're probably struggling having to pay your sister's tuition as well. Can you imagine going to college and then being pressured to pay rent to get a job on top of all of that? You're just working full time and you already have over $100,000 saved up. I think you can manage paying a little bit in rent. My sisters invest in themselves by trying to get a degree. They are not doing good at all. I invest in myself by finding a job that pays decent money without a degree and saving up and taking advantage of compounding effect. And if I ever want to pursue a degree, I can do it. Unlike my sisters, who would have to drop out if they change their mind now and start all over again. One of them already did. I don't see why it's fair to charge me more and limit my investment in myself, even though I require no tuition or tons of expenses to live on campus, supplies, etc. But not limit my sister's investment in themselves by charging them or asking them to work and save up before pursuing a degree, even though they require all of those payments and expenses to be covered. So, I get your point. But you were living under your dad's roof, and he was pretty much asking for help. Your sisters are trying to better their life with college. They don't really have the time to get a job as well. And I get it, it sucks. Well, you moved out. And your parents were asking for help because they're probably struggling. And instead of helping them out, because obviously you have the money, you practically dropped them. Okay, here's the biggest one. I love long stories. Okay, am I the whole for being honest about the fact I'm a sugar baby to my parents? Throwaway because I think my mom uses Reddit. This happened a week ago, but things are still super awkward at home, and I'm not sure if I handled it wrong, or if they're just being unfair. I, 19 female, started college this fall, and am currently living with my parents again. Kind of temporary. I already feel weird enough about it, but everything exploded recently, and now I feel like I'm being judged every second in the house. The background is that my parents have always had this mindset that once you're 18, you're an adult and need to figure your life out on your own. It's not like they kicked me out in a screaming match or anything dramatic. It's just how they are. So after I turned 18, they basically said, "You're on your own now." And I ended up living with my grandparents. No grandparent should be helping take care of their grandchild. None. My grandparents are sweet, and honestly, the only reason I made it through the past year without totally falling apart. They let me live with them rent free, but they're both retired and living off Social Security and a tiny pension. So it's not like they could help me out beyond giving me a place to sleep. I was working 2 part-time jobs, still going to high school, and saving up for college, but it was hard. I wasn't doing anything crazy or irresponsible. I wasn't partying or slacking off. I just couldn't keep up. Like I was constantly worried about bills and food and finals, and I never had breathing room. This past summer, before school started, my parents offered to let me move back in to save money, but only if I paid rent. It wasn't a "you can come home, we miss you" kind of thing. It was more like, "we'll help you out this way, but you still have to contribute," which I get in theory, but I was already stretched thin and it didn't really make anything easier. I still had to work constantly just to afford living in my childhood bedroom again. I think this is wrong. Like, your kid is in college. They got 2 part-time jobs to keep college afloat. Like, I don't understand having them pay rent. Anyway, around that time, I met this guy. We'll call him Kenji. He's 26. We met through a mutual friend, and I found out he worked at a law firm and had a pretty stable career. His family is also wealthy, but he doesn't lean on them. From the start, he was really honest about what he was looking for. He said he likes helping women who are working towards something and offered to support me financially if I was open to it and was willing to spend time with him. Ooh. I'd never even considered anything like that before, but I was desperate and curious, and I don't know. He didn't make me feel weird or gross about it. It felt safe. Okay, so it was a mutual agreement. Y'all are both adults. You're over 18. Yeah, he's 26. It's a little pushing it, in my opinion. But you guys are both consenting adults. Okay, good. So yeah, it started as a sugar relationship, but over time it changed. We started hanging out more just for fun, having real conversations, spending actual time together without expectations. Now it feels more like a relationship than anything else. He's been supportive and kind, and honestly, one of the few people who treats me like I'm not a burden. I've even met his parents, and they're amazing. They were so sweet to me and made me feel completely welcome. Oh, he took you to his parents. Okay, so he doesn't see it as just a sugar relationship anymore either. Or at least I wouldn't think so. They were so sweet to me and made me feel completely welcome. His mom literally hugged me when I left and told me she was glad her son found someone who has a good head on her shoulders. It felt nice, like I wasn't being judged for once. So then came the part that blew everything up. He sent me flowers to the house. Not even a crazy bouquet, just something thoughtful with a cute little note. My mom saw the name and being nosy, looked him up. I guess she realized he was older and saw his job and got suspicious. Later that day, she asked me who he was and what he meant to me, and I didn't want to lie, so I told her the truth, which every parent tells you. Just tell me the truth. Just tell me the truth. They constantly want you to tell them the truth. And the moment you do, all of a sudden you're the bad guy. So I told her the truth, that we met a few months ago and that he helps me out financially since I can't afford everything while paying rent to them, but that we're close and I feel safe with him and it's not anything creepy. Y'all are two consenting adults. She looked at me like I confessed to a crime. She didn't raise her voice, but she started saying things like I should be more careful with how I carry myself and that I'm playing with fire. She also brought up my little sister, she's 13, and said I need to think about the example I'm setting. I didn't say anything, but it honestly hurt. Like I've always tried to be the one who stays out of trouble and does the responsible thing, even when things are hard, and now I'm suddenly the disappointment. They see you struggling. You're not the one that needs to be setting a good example for your little sister. They should be. I bet you when your sister's 18, they're going to let her live there rent free while she goes through college. My dad didn't really say anything, but the way he looked at me, it sucked. He's not the emotional type, but I could tell he agreed with her. Now it's like everything I do is under a microscope. My mom barely talks to me about anything other than bills or chores, and if she does, it's in this super neutral voice, like she doesn't know what to say. Sometimes she starts to say something and stops herself, or she'll come into my room and just stare for a few seconds before leaving. I can't hardly think without feeling like they think I'm some kind of slut. I wasn't trying to disgrace or deceive anyone. I wasn't purposefully hiding anything. I just didn't tell them about it until confronted. Am I the asshole for not lying? I didn't think it would turn out like this. Damn. I really don't think you are the asshole. You're two consenting adults. He obviously is starting to really like you. You are starting to really like him. He's invited you to his mom. It might turn into something more serious than just being a sugar baby. Sometimes it happens. He's sending you flowers. Like, he's being a gentleman at this point. I don't understand why your mom is being the way she is. Like, that's... I'm sorry. You are a consenting adult. Yeah, it's not the life your parents wanted for you, but if they wanted something different for you, maybe they should have supported you better. Unfortunately, some parents don't.